right, good morning, AP Biology students. So it's exciting to see that you guys are all going to be working together today as one big class. I'm upset that I don't get to be part of your big class, but that's okay. Well, you'll be in small groups within the class, but it's still a good feeling to know that you're kind of all mixed together, this A group and B group. A group students, you should have gotten an email from your B group cohort for what time your Zoom is at from your group member that created that Zoom for your group. And so look in your email if you didn't see that Zoom meeting yet. What you guys are going to do is two different things. You're going to share the SalBug lab results doing a present and defend. So say what you tested, how you tested it, and the results that you found, and you can ask each other questions. You all use the same basic protocol. So ask each other some questions about the variables and see if there's things that maybe a group didn't control for or didn't think about when they were doing their experiment. Again, the whole point of this SalBug lab is to get some practice with setting up a lab and thinking about all these different variables. Okay? There's nothing that you need to fill in or turn in for that. You're just having a conversation. The other conversation that you're going to have is with your group plants. So on the classroom, you're going to open up this variation in a population lab. It's down at the very bottom of the animal behavior. You might have to click view more to get to it. Remember, it looks like this. You're going to scroll to the bottom, and you're going to click on the slide deck. And you may have already had this shared with you. You did need to make a copy of it. And so your B group people may have already made a copy of this for you. Basically, you're doing steps 3, 4, and 5. And you're going to work on this every Wednesday now for the next several weeks. So what I want you to do is look at each other's plants, kind of see where they're at. They're all from the same population. You might need to include like a coin or something like that to give it some scale. And then each person take a picture, put it on the slide. You'll need to create a new slide. So after this first slide, create a new slide. Feel free to change the backgrounds, do whatever you want with colors and stuff, or whatever theme you would like. And then you're going to talk about the variation that's there. So do a quick compare and contrast between the plants of the 3 or 4 people in your group. As you're doing that compare and contrast, I really want you thinking about this visa. So this is the concept of natural selection, and this is the 4 things that are critical here for natural selection. So one is that there's variation, and we know that within a population there's variation. They're not going to all be the same. So while you're looking at your beans, look for what are some of the differences between this one and this one and this one. They're all the same species and from the same seed pack. The traits that they have are inherited. Bean plants are sexual organisms. There's male and female parts to their flowers. They can self-pollinate, and so then they grow the bean seeds, or the bean pods, which have the seeds in them for the baby plants. So all the traits they have were inherited. And then there's selection. So the traits that we see were selected for through evolutionary history. And those traits are really the adaptations. So what I want you thinking about is, like, when you look at the plants, like, what's an adaptation that you're seeing in the stage of the plant that it is? So right now they're early plants. They're a week old maybe, since they germinate or, like, sprouted. They probably are about a week old. What are some of the adaptations that you're noticing? And why might that adaptation have been selected for in evolutionary history? What's the advantage of having this adaptation at the stage that it's in for that bean plant? And so you're going to each week look at your plants with this lens of variation, inheritance, selection, and adaptation, and talk about how that is allowing that bean plant to survive, which is natural selection. That they have these traits gives an advantage for reproduction and that they're surviving. So I hope you guys have a great Wednesday. Let me know if you have any questions or if you get stuck. Because other than this, what you're going to work on is the knowledge probe. So depending on if you're in group A or group B, will depend on which knowledge probe you're on. And you can always work ahead. So if you're like, Wednesday's free, I've got all this time, you are going to eventually do 51, 2, 3, and 4. So sections, all of chapter 51, you are going to work through. So feel free to work ahead on any of those. And that's because that's going to be the homework and work that you're working on these next several days. Your SolBug lab is due on Friday, so make sure that you've got that explanation revised after you've done, after it's been peer reviewed in the EduFlow. You'll do the revisions and put that into your final parts of your Sol lab. And you can also finish up the explanation, and I believe that there's an application in there too. So don't forget to get that finished up because that's due on Friday. All right, so I hope that your day goes well, and let me know if you have questions.